Welcome to my September 2023 update on the latest current account news and special offers, including bank switching deals. And let's start with those, because the bad news is, sadly, we are down to just one proper bank switching deal and two kind of possibly you might be able to get bank switching deals depending on your circumstances. Sadly, just in the last few days, we have seen the closure of the NatWest, RBS and Ulster Bank £200 offers. Technically, you can only get those once, but many of you were able to get this 2 or 3 times, and that myself included. Sadly, that finished today, this morning, the 11th of September. I did get a heads up on this briefly on last Friday, and I was able to share that on our social media channels in our Facebook group. But again, it wasn't enough time to do another video to let you know. So hopefully you didn't miss out. Hopefully you took advantage. But don't worry. I would imagine it will come back at some point in some form. It happens with most of them. And this is what I'll say to you now. I get questions all the time. When are the next deals coming? What are the new offers? They vary throughout the year when they launch, how long they last for. Some banks stop them and don't bring them back ever. Some of them have maybe a gap of a couple of years. Some of them, it's just a month or two. But I will expect to see some new offers coming this month and maybe next month. Potentially Lloyds, that might come back at some point in September. I don't know whether the likes of Santander, Virgin Money and Nationwide, who haven't done a switching deal for any of 2023, well, Santander did at the start of the year, whether they'll do it. But again, if they do launch them, I will let you know both here on the channel and over at becleverwithyourcash.com, where there's a big, long guide to all the different bank switching deals at any time. But what are the ones that are running right now? Let's go through those again. In fact, there has been a slight change to this main one, this one from First Direct. And let me get that up on the screen for you so you can kind of just remind you what the essentials of this deal are. So the First Direct switching deal is £175. I won't go into full detail on this because I've covered it before, and you can find, again, all the information in the analysis, the full analysis, over at becleverwithyourcash.com. But ultimately, £175 is how much you can get for this, as long as you don't already have or have never had a First Direct account, and also haven't had an HSBC account at some point, haven't opened an account with HSBC since the 1st of January 2020. And then you pay in £1,000 within 3 months to open the account. Using the current account switching service to switch from an old account to First Direct, £175 is yours. Where it is slightly different for this month, for September only, is a prize draw. And I've got the information over here. Quickly share that with you. This prize draw ends on the 1st of October 2023. So you have to open the account, start the switch by that date, by the 1st of October 2023. You also, and this is a slight difference to the terms and conditions from the normal switching deal, that £1,000, you have to pay it in within 30 days. So it's shorter than the full 3 months. If you just want to get the cash, you've got 3 months to pay that in. If you want to enter the prize draw, you've got to put that $1,000 in within 30 days. Now, as with all these deals, it doesn't have to be in one go. It can be the same amount of money, like £250 paid in, you pay it back out, you pay it back in, you pay it back out, you pay it back in, or smaller amounts that cumulatively add up over the time, or just slap £1,000 in, and that money doesn't need to stay. It just needs a total £1,000 in that 30 days in order to enter this prize draw. Now, as long as you do all of that, the prize draw will take place on the 8th of November 2023. So your last chance to start this is the 1st of October. 30 days to pay in that £1,000. The draw then takes place on the 8th of November. Now, don't get too excited. There are only 5 prizes. The prizes are massive. They are £12,500. So pretty big prizes if you win, but with only 5 prizes, your chances of winning are quite low, I would say. But again, if you haven't already taken advantage of the First Direct switching offer or the HSBC one, which will rule you out, and you're keen to do so, you're keen to take advantage of it, then this is a good time to give it. And one quick reminder here is, if you are going to apply, don't go straight to the First Direct website. Go via a cashback site such as Quidco, because there's £40, up to £40 on offer in addition. Obviously, check those separate terms and conditions for that, but you may as well take advantage of that. And obviously, don't forget, right now, First Direct also have the highest paying regular saver at 7%. So all in, decent one to go for. Now, I mentioned there were a couple of other deals, switching deals out there. And I've spoken about them in past on the video, so I won't go into a huge amount of detail on one of them at least. That is the Cooperative Bank switching deal. This one is £125, but, and this is the problem where I say you might not be able to get it, you need to be referred by an existing customer who has a current account with Cooperative Bank. If you do that, they refer you, you sign up, you switch from a different bank, you both get 125 quid. Again, I've got a whole video taking you through that. And if you haven't already got someone who can refer you, don't forget, I've got a pay it forward thread over in our Facebook group. The short URL for that, becleverwithyourcash.com co-op.com/community. You have to apply for join. When you're there, search for co-op switch. Don't just post, can I have a switch for co-op? Because that will be rejected. Search for the actual thread, and then you can post on there, and someone who already has a cooperative account, as long as they haven't already referred someone in the group, they can help you get that cash, and they'll get some money as well. No end date for this one just yet. And again, I've got a whole separate video taking you through it. Now, the other one, which I will talk about a little bit more detail here because I've not really covered it on the video too much. Again, not many of you are going to get it, but this is from Barclays, okay? Again, slightly more complicated and restrictive, but this one is from the Barclays Premier Banking account. You have to be eligible for this account. To be eligible for this current account, you need to have either £75,000 a year as a salary paid into that current account, or you have to have £100,000 saved with Barclays or invested with Barclays. So these are going to rule out most of us, right? Most of us aren't going to be able to do that. But let's assume you can meet those criteria. And let's assume you haven't already had a Barclays current account in the past, whether they're a normal one or a Premier one. Then if you open one up and then add on something called Avios Rewards, you add Avios Rewards on, this will cost you £12 every single month. But in return for that, you'll get a number of Avios points, which will, if you can convert them into Nectar points, they're worth about 10 quid. So basically the loss is £2 a month. You'll then, and switch into it from a different account, from a different bank, you'll then get a bonus of 25,000 Avios points. So that bonus itself, that 25,000 Avios points, if you convert them into Nectar points, is worth about £167. So that's what you're looking at as your switching bonus. Now, remember, I did say there was a fee every month of £12 every month in order to trigger this, to have these Avios Rewards. You'll have to keep that going for at least 4 months. It takes 4 months after opening the account for that bonus to be paid. But after 4 months, you can stop. So let's assume you're going to stop this after 4 months. Just downgrade to a standard Barclays account. Then you obviously would have spent 4 lots of £12. But since presumably you're going to convert these Avios points into Nectar points as well, really they're worth £10. That means you're losing £2 a month over 4 months. That's £8. So really your profit here is about 159 quid, although you'll have more than that value in actual Nectar points to use. Assuming you do want to use them Nectar points, you can of course instead use them as Avios points if you wish, for flights or whatever it might be. Again, a few more details here. Again, this is all from over on the website, becleveryourcash.com, so you can read more info there and click through. But I want to talk about it a little bit more because some of you might be thinking a bit antsy. I've done the rest, there are no others. Maybe I'll give this one a go. But as I said, not many of you are going to be able to get that one. Now, they are the bank switching deals. There is another offer to tell you about, and this is the a prize draw for TSB customers. You don't have to do anything for this one at all. If you have a current account or a savings account or a mortgage or a loan with TSB, as of the 9th of September 2023, you'll be entered into a prize draw worth £100,000. Now, again, that sounds amazing. There are only 10 prizes. Those prizes are big, £10,000 each, but your chances of winning obviously are quite low. But yeah, as long as you had that account, you will just be entered. The draw takes place on the 18th of October. So you'll be told by the 20th of October if you have won. So again, keep an eye out for this if you have a TSB account. One more offer to share with you, and this relates to Barclays customers with an Android phone, because if you've got a Barclays debit card and you haven't connected it to your Google Pay wallet, well, at least you haven't done that since the 3rd of August of this year, then you'll be able to earn 5% back on your spending on your Barclays debit card via your Google Pay wallet on your Android phone. Now, this runs until the 30th of September, and there is a cap. The most cashback you can earn is £10. So it's not earth-shattering, but if you're a Barclays customer and you use that card, you may as well connect that offer, activate that offer, and earn that cash. Now, if you did do this, already connect your card to Google Wallet before that date, then sadly you won't be eligible. Again, more information on this over on the blog. Incidentally, a quick one here. If you have a Revolut account, do check your notifications you get either on email or push notifications or within the app, because they have offered me a few times over the last couple of months £5 or £10 back if I use my debit card. Now, I haven't bothered doing that. It's just £5 and I'm not a big fan of Revolut, but it could well be the reason I keep getting sent these is because I haven't done it rather than being repeated. But certainly have a look. You might be a way for you to make a couple of quick transactions, get a £5 or £10, whatever it might be. So do look out for those. Now, I want to give you a quick clarification on Santander's Edge current account. If you watched my recent video talking about the Edge Saver account, paying 7% on up to £4,000 if you have the Edge current account. You'll know I mentioned a possible workaround that I was investigating. This workaround was based upon the fact that in the terms and conditions for the Edge current account, it says that you will be charged the fee once, the £3 monthly fee, once you have paid £500 into the account and added 2 direct debits. Basically, you'll want to do this. Most people want to do this with the Edge current account because that's how you'll earn the cash back. If you don't pay £500 into the account and you don't have 2 direct debits, you won't earn the cash back. So from their point of view, the reason they're doing this is if you're not earning any cash back, you won't get charged the fee. And this potentially meant that if you were interested in this in order just for the savings account, maybe you already get cash back from the 123 or the 123 Lite, which are no longer available to new customers, but an older customer, you might already have it, or maybe you don't pay the bills, or maybe you wanted to take advantage of multiple, both personal and joint Edge current accounts to get more Edge Saver accounts, then this might be a really good workaround, a good way of doing it. Don't pay that £3 a month, which means you're really getting that 7% rather than a slightly reduced amount. Bad news is I had clarification from Santander that this shouldn't work. And I say shouldn't because the language was, well, I'll tell you what they said. They said the fee for the Edge account is charged once a customer qualifies for cashback for the first time. If after opening, the customer's circumstances change and the account is no longer right for them, or they don't meet the requirements for all of the terms and conditions, they can, and this is the important bit, or we may switch them to a different account within our range which doesn't charge a fee. So what they're saying is if you do not pay £500 into that account, you do not set up 2 direct debits, rather than them charge you a fee, what they'll do is they will move you to an account which doesn't pay it. But the interesting word there is may. So that suggests that they might not. So if you want to give it a go, possibly you can. But again, there's a good chance that you go through all that work. You have the credit checks that come with opening up the new Edge current account in order to access Edge Savers. Go through all of that, and they might just downgrade you to a normal everyday saver current account. But again, that's an update for you, might be useful one for you to know. As ever with these updates, there have been more bank closures. It's been a couple of months. I didn't do one of these in August because there was no news to really share with you. But in the last 2 months, there have been announcements from Lloyds, Halifax, Virgin Money, and Barclays of more and more closures. Over on the website, I have got a list of all those actual closures and the dates that are happening, so you can go in and see if your one is effective. But again, we're seeing so many of these all the time. It's it can be obviously quite frustrating. A couple quick more things to tell you about here with Monzo, then so let's finally end on Chase. Monzo, if you're a Monzo customer, you already would have noticed they've pushed out a redesign to all users. Or if you're a regular user or have had one and not really looked at it for a while, it's definitely worth opening up the app to see what it looks like. I'm personally quite a fan of this. I've used to really like Monzo, and then I found it really confusing. I couldn't find anything anymore, and I thought it kind of was no longer one of the better apps, particularly compared to Starling and Chase. I really like this redesign. It makes it a lot easier for you to kind of do the things you want to do with your bank, whether it's add in money, look at your card, or look for things. It's all there, nice and easy to find. It's also quite easy to see your pots at a glance, all those sort of budgeting tools which are in there. Certainly, I would give it a look if you have an account already. And if you don't, and you're looking for an account to kind of help you track your spending, then I absolutely think it's well worth having a look. I'm sure I'll do an updated video here on the YouTube channel soon, reviewing it, but we have got an updated article on Be Clever Your Cash taking you through some of those additional features. One more thing on Monzo quickly. I did talk about in the July update that you should be able to use Monzo's Monzo Me feature, where you can send a link for someone to pay you cash with their debit card as a way to work around the Halifax Rewards £500 debit card spend. Again, a whole video on the Halifax Reward hack, so watch that one if you haven't already. That's where you get £5 every single month or a free cinema ticket every single month. I said it should work, but I hadn't tried it. I've tried it myself. It works. I added £500 to my Monzo account using my Halifax debit card, and it tracked a couple of days later in the Halifax app. I will get my £5 rewards this month on one of my accounts. Obviously, regular viewers, you know you can have up to 3 of those. So that's certainly something to look at. And finally, the last thing to tell you about is an update regarding dummy current accounts. And in particular, it's Chase Bank. Now, Chase, as I shared a few months ago, has now joined the current account switching service. So you can switch both into and out of your Chase account in order to get all those kind of benefits you get with the switching service, including the guarantee that protects your money if it moves around. However, previously, an issue that had been with Chase at any time is if you close the account, that was it for good. You couldn't reopen it. That obviously could change at some point in the future, but that's certainly where it was. If you closed it down, you weren't able to get a new account at any point. So I would say you wouldn't want to switch away from Chase because, well, that's it. Any other features that come along later on that you want to take advantage of, you can't. However, I got clarification on what this meant with the switching service when it came into play. And this is a really good one to share with you. Because with Chase, you can open up more than one current account within the app. Although ostensibly you've got your main one, you can open up to 20 in total, and they are all linked to the same debit card. As long as when you switch out of Chase with maybe one of those additional current accounts, as long as you still have one of those accounts live that hasn't been switched away, then your Chase account won't close down. And the fact that that debit card is linked to all your current accounts, if your switching service asks for information about the card you're using, that won't make a difference either. So potentially this makes this a good dummy account for you to use to take advantage of switching bonuses when they exist. Obviously right now there aren't many of them, but certainly something to keep in the back of your mind. I wouldn't go too crazy with this because obviously they might look at this sort of this behavior and they might not like that, and they obviously can take actions themselves and say, right, actually we don't want you as a customer, you're just using it for switching away from these offers all the time. Not saying they will, but they could. So just be careful with that. And one last thing to talk about here, I have noticed in the Facebook group just over the last few weeks, a few people saying they've had their switch rejected by some of the digital banks. The new bank has been rejected the switch because they said they can't switch from the external bank. So we're going to investigate that a little bit further, and I'll update you in the next one of these videos I do in October exactly what that might mean for you if you are switching away from one of those digital banks. It might be nothing to worry about, but it's certainly something we're looking into. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, head to becleverwithyourcash.com for more on those switching deals, and watch these videos right here for more ways to make the most from your bank.